In this video, I am going to discuss the Limitation Act 1963 Act. Limitation means in everything under law, certain limitations are prescribed. So everything has to be done within the limitation period. Sometimes due to some reason or other, the limitation is crossed. In that case, there is a provision of delay condonation provision. So in case of any limitation is passed, somebody can also apply this delay condonation petition, so that the petition or anything that can be filed within the time, or if the time is elapsed, in that case also it can be filed. So now let us discuss the important aspects of the Limitation Act 1963. First is called Section 3, Bar of Limitation. Every suit shall be instituted or appeal that will be preferred, and any application made after prescribed period shall be dismissed unless limitation has not been set up as a defense. That means the provision is delay condonation petition. That means if the limitation has not been set up, then under this provision, for any suit or any appeal preferred or any application made after the prescribed period, the petition will be dismissed or rejected. So that is called bar of limitation. Once there is a limitation is crossed or there is a bar, the delay condonation petition must be affixed to that. That means a delay condonation petition must be filed along with the main petition, that is filing of suit or preferring appeal or any other application provided under this law. So this is called Section 3, that is called bar of limitation. Now let us come to another aspect. Section 4 stipulates expiry of prescribed period when the court is closed. That means suppose on any particular day the limitation is going to be closed. Suppose that falls on Sunday. On that day the court is closed. So what will be the procedure that will be adopted? That is specifically mentioned in Section 4. If the court is closed on that day, so when the court will reopen, that means after that, suppose on Monday, next day is Monday, if court will reopen on Monday, the limitation, on the Monday the petition has to be filed. So expiry of period of limitation, if that is falling on any closing, on any close, or on that the court is closed, in that case the case will be filed on the next reopening day. That means suit shall be instituted, preferred or made when court reopens. That means when the court is reopening, that may be next day or thereafter also it may be also next day, whatever the day may be, when the court reopens after the court is closed, on that day the suit will be instituted. So that is the provision given under, specifically given under Section 4 relating to if the court is found to be closed. So it is pointing to one aspect of limitation, that is called if the court is closed, then only a person can avail Section 4. Then now let us say, suppose the limitation is over. So the extension of period of limitation in certain cases, all these things are specifically mentioned in Section 5 of the Act. That means any appeal or any application may be admitted after expiry of period if appellant or applicant satisfies the court he had sufficient reason for not preferring appeal or that application within that period. That means that indirectly implying the delay condonation petition. Suppose a person is going to file a petition and if he is describing or he is ascribing any particular reason, for that reason he was prevented from filing the same within the stipulated period, then basing on that, if that is satisfactorily explained and that is found to be believable and acceptable, the court may extend the time period that is given under Section 5. That is called extension of period in certain cases. In some of the cases, the extension of period can be granted by the court. That is called, that is indirectly says once the period is over, this time period is over for filing any or institution of suit or preferring any appeal, whatever it may be. If the time is over, the extension can be given, provided that must be the party has to prove for a particular reason he was prevented from filing that thing within the stipulated period. So this is relating to Section 5. Now we will discuss the different aspect of computation of period, how it will be counted. Section 12 specifically stipulates that expulsion of time in legal proceeding. That means the day from which it will be stipulated is reckoned shall be excluded. That means suppose a judgment is delivered on 18th of any month. So the date of judgment will be it will not be included, it will be excluded. That means the time limitation will be start from the next day. That means from 19th it will be counted. That is called whatever the date of judgment, date of delivery of judgment in case of appeal, date of passing order in case of revision, everything the date will be not taken into consideration. The next day will be accepted as a day 1. So accordingly, the computation of period will be calculated as per section 12 of the Act. That means, suppose a judgment is delivered. In that case, the date of judgment shall be excluded. In case of period of obtaining a copy, whatever the time period that is taken for obtaining the copy, the time period, whatever the time or dates, that will be excluded. Suppose in case of filing a appeal, that is time limitation is 30 days. And the copy period was time for obtaining a certified copy, it took 6 days. Then these 6 days will be excluded. That means 30 plus 6, 36 days will be counted. So this is called extension of period in case of computation of period in case of this filing thing. Then coming to set aside any award, the time, whatever the time taken to obtain the copy, that will be excluded. In case of setting aside any award of any tribunal or anything, that whatever the time taken to obtain the certified copy of the order, that period will be. So in the whole, whatever the time taken to obtain a certified copy and copy of award, everything will be excluded, and this date, whatever the time period, that will be minus, that will be excluded in reckoning and counting the dates for filing the appeal or the petition within the stipulated process. So these are certain procedures. So that procedures are called computation of period for exclusion of time in case of all legal proceedings. All these are coming under section 12. Now let us come to another important aspect, section 14, exclusion of time of proceeding bona fide in the court without jurisdiction. Suppose somebody has filed a petition mistakenly in another court, but you bona fidely that has been done, by mistakenly has committed a wrong. So whatever time consumed to getting back that case from that court, that time will be excluded. So this is a very important aspect of law, that is called section that is coming under section 14 of the Act. Now let us discuss some of the important aspects, that exclusion of time in other cases, that is given, specifically given under section 15 of this Act, exclusion of time in certain other cases. In computing the period of limitation for executing a decree, the day of issue shall be excluded. That means the day of issue of decree shall be excluded. This is first aspect. Computation of period of limitation for any suit during which any deficiency has been caused or deficiency has been absent for due to some reason, there is a absent of deficiency. In that case, the computation, the time period, whatever that is taken, that will be excluded. In case of when sanction of government is required, the time required for obtaining sanction, that will be excluded. That means for anything, any sanction is required, and for obtaining that sanction order from the government, so whatever the days that has been spent, that those days, those time period will be excluded. So these are very important aspect of certain exclusion of time in some other cases, just like in case of decree, execution of decree, in case of obtaining sanction, all these things are specifically mentioned in section 15 of this Act. Then coming to another aspect, effect of fraud or mistake in computing the period of limitation, that is given under section 17. In case of any fraud or any mistake has been committed, how the limitation will be computed. So here, in any suit that is based on fraud, the limitation shall not begin to run until plaintiff or applicant has discovered fraud or mistake. From the date of discovery of fraud and mistake, the limitation will be computed. So that means till the discovery of fact or fraud has not been come to the knowledge of the party, then this limitation will not applicable. So from the date of discovery of fraud, then only the computation of period of time limitation shall be calculated. So these are some of the important other aspects of law relating to fraud or mistake of law, that is specifically given under this section 17 of this Act. Now let us come to general application of Limitation Act, general application. What are the application of time and what are the time stipulated as per different provisions? For money suit, for recovery of money in any suit, any money due is there. Suppose a bank is going to file a suit against the debtor. So in that case, the recovery for recovery of any sort of money suit, the time period limitation time prescribed under the statute is 3 years. That means from the date of this 3 years, that means from the date of cause of action, when the cause of action will accrue, from that day, the limitation for filing the suit or case is within 3 years. That is relating to money suit. Now let us come to suit relating to immovable properties. Any suit, that is a person is going to file a suit in the court relating to immovable property, the limitation prescribed is 3 years. So these are different types of limitations prescribed. There are a lot of things are there relating to time stipulation, but we are going to discuss more some of the important aspect of limitation. So any suit for immovable property, the limitation prescribed is 3 years. Now let us come to suit relating to movable properties. In that case also the limitation prescribed as per this Limitation Act is 3 years. So both immovable as well as movable properties, any suit any plaintiff is going to initiate in any civil court or any court having civil jurisdiction, at that time the limitation will be taken into consideration of 3 years. But already we have discussed, for some bona fide reason the plaintiff could not file the suit within the limitation period prescribed, that is 3 years. In that case, he has to adopt this delay condonation provision that is stipulated in section 5 of Limitation Act. So this is another extra provision, but the limitation is always 3 years. Now let us come to suit for compensation for libel, that is 1 year. That means any visible representation by which somebody has been imputed. In case of imputation or in case of anything regarding defamation, any person is going to file a suit relating to compensation, to claim compensation in case of libel. That means from the date of judgment, within 1 year the party has to file a case relating to compensation for defamation. That is called suit for libel or compensation for libel. Limitation prescribed is 1 year. Similarly, then compensation for slander. That means any person who is out of his spoken has assaulted or assassinated the character of a person, the person who has ultimately a suit was filed, case was filed, from the date of judgment 1 year will be calculated. That means from the date of judgment at the compensation for slander or anything that can be limitation prescribed is 1 year. So these are certain things relating to slander and relating to libel, that is 1 year prescribed, that is under this Limitation Act. Now we will discuss suit for malicious prosecution. Once a person is intending, he has filed a suit for defamation and ultimately the court gave the judgment that there is no, this suit was filed vexatiously just to tarnish the image of the person. In that case, the person can file a suit for malicious prosecution. So from the date of judgment, when the judgment will be delivered, from the date of judgment, 1 year, within 1 year, the person who has sustained loss for that malicious action of the plaintiff, in that case the defendant can file a suit against the plaintiff for sustaining whatever loss or whatever that has been defamed to him. The limitation prescribed is also 1 year for this malicious prosecution. So any suit, for any suit where no limitation is prescribed, this is a very important aspect, where there is no specific express provision for anything where no limitation is prescribed. In that case, generally the calculation is 3 years. Where no limitation is prescribed, the limitation shall be considered to be 3 years from the date of cause of action. So this is another important aspect. Then we will discuss some of the revision, appeal, all these things. Revision under the CPC, the 90 days is the limitation. In case of all revision, under the CPC, 90 days is the limitation. From the date of order, within 90 days, the party has to prefer revision in the revisional court. So that is the time limit given under this section. 90 days is the limitation. For taking any special leave to Supreme Court, suppose a person want to file a appeal in the Supreme Court against the judgment of High Court, they definitely has to take a special leave. So that special leave has to taken within 60 days from the order of the High Court. That means from High Court, definitely it will be appealable to Supreme Court. At that time, the limitation is computed to be 60 days. First of all, he has to take a special leave petition. If this special leave will be allowed, then only he will be permitted to file his memorandum of appeal before the Supreme Court. So this time stipulation as per this Act is 60 days from the passing of judgment or order by the High Court. And lastly, and for any other cases when the limitation is, general limitation is prescribed is 90 days. So these are some of the important aspects relating to revision 90 days. For general any other cases it is 90 days, but in case of special leave it is 60 days. In this way, different types of limitations are prescribed under the statutory act, and the act is very exhaustive act, and you have to follow the time. And if anything is filed beyond the limitation, it will be called a time barred case. Once it is a case found to be or detected to be a time barred case, it will be dismissed based on that period. That's why once a party is going to file something beyond the limitation, he has to apply the court. He has to apply the court by filing a delay condonation petition supported with this. Then only the case will be admitted and it will be decided in consonance with the law. So Limitation Act plays a very vital role in deciding all cases, and a very good ground for also dismissing a suit. So limitations should be considered and will be taken into acceptance in very right format, and the party who is applying this limitation has to be very careful by calculating the time period of limitation. That's why this is very important aspect of law, and everything, the main ingredients of this act is everything should be done in right time. That is the main essence of this Limitation Act. With this, I am closing this Limitation Act 1963 Act.